What's going on, everybody? It's your girl D here with your Virgo 2022 astrology read for the month of September. So, happy birthday to all the Virgos out there. We all have Virgo in our chart, so we all should be celebrating Virgo season. So, look to see where Virgo is in your chart and take advantage of the opportunities and the energies that Virgo presents to us. Um, we are coming off of the new moon in Virgo energies. So Virgo is a energy, it's an earth energy. It's an energy that deals with practicality, being grounded. It's an energy that deals with it's a synonymous with the public servant. It's here to help. It's here to serve. So shout out to all of the public servants out there, people who work in the government or who do something for the public, right? Or who work as a servant in some way, shape, or form. Anybody who serves you, whether it's a bartender, whether it's a waitress, whether it's a customer service representative, whether it's a police officer, a fireman, anybody who serves the public. This is their season. So pay homage to those who are out there helping the public and doing things for the public. All right. And then also pay happy birthday homages to your favorite Virgos. So let's talk about what's going on, you guys. So on the 5th, you got Venus moving into your first house. So with Venus moving into your first house, Venus is a planet of what your values are about, what's important to you as far as loyalty, trust. Also has to do with money. So a lot of you may be looking at practical ways to, you may be looking at ways to spend money. I feel like because the fall's coming in, some of you may be looking at changing your attire, right? Because Venus deals with indulgences. It also deals with money. It deals with beauty. So some of you may be getting your hair done, getting your hair cut, maybe changing your hair color, your hair length. Men and women, whomever. I feel like there's a lot of personal attention going to grooming, also taking care of your health, because Virgo is the sign of health, right? So with Venus there, indulging in taking care of your body, eating right. Like, I just feel like there's a whole new, not whole new, but I just feel like there's a reinvigoration of taking care of yourself and putting yourself in a place where you are presenting your best self to the public. So I feel like for some of you that might be the case. Some of you are going to be shopping, not just for personal things, but for things that bring you personal comfort. Some of you may be splurging. You may have a little extra money to do a little extra shopping, to indulge in some things. So it could be artwork. Some of you are really taking account to or investing in things to take care of your body, like maybe different types of supplements, different types of food, trying different types of healthy cuisines, trying different dishes, maybe indulging and spending a little bit more in reference to the quality of food that you buy, in reference to what you ingest and what you take in. All right. So I feel like that could be going on for you guys, especially with Mercury going into your second house on the 9th. Mercury is all about the thought process, how you see things, how you look at things, right? And going into the house of Libra, how you see things in order to balance them. We're also dealing with a lot of media, right? So there could be like a lot of online communication. Maybe some of you are doing research online in reference to taking better care of your health, your body, your finances, because your first and second house with Venus in your first house, conjunct your second house and Mercury. So you could be thinking about your money, what to invest it in, practical ways to spend it, practical ways to invest. Also a little bit of a luxury, spending here and there. Can you afford to now? Hey, I've been saving up my money. Now I want to go ahead and buy this. So that kind of thing could be going on for you. But I feel like you're going to be focused on looking at what's going on in reference to your self-esteem, in reference to how you allow people to treat you and how you treat people and how you connect in your relationships, in reference to the Libra energy in your second house. And with Mercury there, Mercury's going to be going retrograde next month, but we'll talk about that more so as we get to the end of the month. But Mercury is going, oh, actually, it's already in your house. It's going, I'm sorry, it's going retrograde on the 9th. So we're already in those retrograde energies. So some of you could be, thinking back about times and situations and circumstances where maybe you allowed people to get over, or people took advantage in some way, shape, or form, and maybe you didn't find out till after the fact. Some of you are going to be aware of that and conscious of that. And so as a result, you're going to be looking at things and relationships from a perspective, okay, well, what's important, making sure that things are balanced and aligned. You've learned from those mistakes. You're moving on. Now we got the South Node in your third house. This is the house of your ideas, expressing yourself, and this is Scorpionic energy here. So the way that it's going to come out is you may be very mysterious. As far as who you, people may not know who you socialize with. They may not know what you're into as far as your lifestyle choices, the things that you do, who you do them with, how you like to have fun. These things may be coming off a little mysterious in nature to those who are looking in on you, who may not really know you that well, right? But even for some of people who are close to you, they may not know who your closest friends are, or who your lover is. Like, some of you may be keeping that private because you may not want to expose that. I feel like a lot of you are in the energy of, okay, yeah, I can post me and my friends online, I can post me and my homeboys online, me and my homegirls online, but that special person, I'm not going to put them online yet. I want to keep that sacred. I want to keep that personal. I want to keep that private. So whoever it is that you're intimate with or connecting with, I feel like you're keeping that on the low right now, right? So we don't have much going on in your Sagittarius house, but in your 5th house, where we have Pluto in Capricorn, next month is going to be a major month. So you may start feeling these energies now because Pluto goes direct on October 8th. So you may start feeling the energies of Pluto subside in reference to you looking back at the past, right? Because Pluto's all about power struggles. So, this could have been in reference to relationships, because the 5th house deals with, well, relationships in reference to flings, love flings, things that don't last long, right? Some of you could be looking back at that, or could have been looking back at that while Pluto was in retrograde. Whether it's you looking back at a relationship that you let go of, there could have been a power struggle there, you finally got loose of it, or you could still be in an entanglement with someone that you're trying to make things work with, but maybe it's not, or maybe you're going to give it another go and see how that works, okay? But Pluto's all about death and rebirth. So death to the way things used to be, and birth to something new. So it could be, okay, you broke up with someone, but maybe you two now are wanting to get back together, and things are going to be different now. But you do want to be careful going back to the past, because you want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Everybody's healed. There's no unsolved or unresolved conflict that could come up later in a relationship. One thing I hate is when you split up with someone, or you disconnect with someone, whether it's a friend, a family member, or whomever, because there's an issue, right? And then you sit down and you make amends, but nobody wants to talk about why the issue happened to avoid having it happen again. I feel like people who are afraid to talk about what really happened and to admit their part in a situation, either A, they're just people who don't want to accept the part that they played in a situation, or B, they're being manipulative. Now, either way, it's not healthy for you, right? Whether you're dealing with someone who's manipulative or someone who won't accept responsibility for their actions. Because in either circumstance, if you're giving them the opportunity, they'll do it again. And they'll just come to you with the same logic and reasoning behind why they did it the first time. And so now you're going to have to stop and take a look at that. Like, okay, this is how this person is. Why am I still allowing them to come into my life? Why do I still feel obligated to be friends with them, or to be in a relationship with them, or to continue a family dynamic with them, when they clearly show no remorse for their actions, and it almost seems like they're doing things intentionally? So when it comes to your flings and what you do for fun and who you hang out for fun, these are some things you're going to be considering, right? And you're going to be very reserved. You're going to be in your Capricorn energy. You're going to be very reserved about who you let back in, especially if it's someone from the past. But moving forward, you're going to be very you're going to be using discernment, let's just put it that way, right? In reference to who you have fun with, who you let your hair down, who you trust with your dirty little secrets, things like that, right? So you're definitely going to be looking at, okay, who is somebody that is just cool, and who's somebody that who's been a long time friend, who's been there for me, things like that. I feel like a lot of you are going through those changes here, right? Now, with the sixth house, that's where Saturn is at. Okay, Saturn's in retrograde there. Here's another planet that's going direct in October, going direct October 23rd. So this month is going to be transitioning energies you may feel in your sixth house. Now, your sixth house has to do with your routines, your patterns, what you do every day, how you do it, what time you do it. Also, what's important to you, your priorities, right? Also, your health, okay? Your willpower, your intestinal fortitude, your discipline. Like that type of thing goes on with the sixth house energies. So with Saturn there, Saturn is a planet of restriction. And when it's in retrograde, you're questioning restrictions that you should have applied, or you're questioning restrictions that you've applied and why or why not, why it didn't work or why it did work, right? And how you should move forward. Saturn deals with timing. It tells you when things are over. It's no longer, justifiable. Now it's time to let that go and move on. You've outgrown it, right? I try to look at Saturn as an energy of, like, it's a disciplinarian, but it's also there to keep you from being stagnant and repeating cycles that are just not beneficial for you, right? So Saturn is there to help us move forward. When it's in retrograde, it's at a time where we need to think about our routines, our patterns, how we do things. And so you may be looking at this in a very Aquarian type of way, determining what it is that you truly want as far as your wishes, your dreams. What priorities, what routines do you need to put in place to accomplish your goals and your dreams and wish fulfillment, right? Also, what kind of rules and regulations and limitations do you put in place when it comes to connecting with friends and making new friends? This is a really good energy for you to make new friends, Virgo. You, Scorpio, and there's a couple of others. Hey, you might even run into a Scorpio. Um, but you have similar qualities and similar energy. So normally Virgo does get along with Scorpio. Some people, well, oh, no, 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 I dealt with a Virgo, I'm a Scorpio, or I dealt with a Scorpio, I'm a Virgo. Not every single Scorpio and Virgo get along. You have to look at everybody else. You have to look at the rest of the chart. You can't just base it on sun sign. Sun sign is just how you present yourself to the world. You have to look at moon, all the other integral parts that make someone, right? But usually when I'm talking about the energies, not people, Virgo energy and Scorpio energy correlate because they have a lot in common. They have so much in common. Their symbols are similar. Like they have the M symbol, but Virgo has like a little swoop at the end of their M where Scorpio doesn't. But there's a lot of similarities in reference to Virgo and Scorpio, but that's a whole nother situation, conversation, and video. But I feel like you're going to be making friends, connecting with more like-minded individuals now that you've come out of a lot of us are just clearing up a lot of karmic cycles, and I know a lot of people are saying that, but it is what it is. A lot of people are just saying it because they hear other people talking about it, but trust me when I tell you these planetary alignments are saying that this is what's really going on, okay? Now, with your house of partnerships, your house of relationships, we got Neptune there in retrograde, right? And the way that you're conducting yourself is in a very Piscean way. So with Neptune there, Neptune is Pisces' ruler. So Neptune in retrograde is you taking off the rose-colored glasses, seeing things for what they are. This is in your relationship house. So all relationships, whether it's your work relationships, your family dynamics, your friendships, the people that you're in organizations and associations with, and even your lovers, right? All of these relationships and how you balance the scales and keep things fair so that you're not giving way too much and not getting enough, right, in return. This is the house where all that takes place. So with Neptune there, you're taking in retrograde, you're taking off the rose-colored glasses because Neptune is all about illusions. It's all about what's behind the curtain. It's all about painting a picture of what people want you to see. But when it's in retrograde, people see things for what they really are, right? And the reason that happens is because Neptune is a very intuitive energy, and when it's in retrograde, you are more sensitive to the intuitive nudges of somebody was putting on a facade, but I feel like there's something else going on, right? So you're going to start seeing things. Your intuition is going to tell you to look at things from a different perspective. Maybe you didn't see it before, and maybe you see it now in some of your relationships, okay? So what it may look like as far as how it may come out in reference to you, you're gonna be adaptable, you're gonna be mutable, because that's what the Piscean energy is all about. Being adaptable, being mutable, seeing both sides of the situation, and not really taking an emotional attachment to it, but understanding, okay, I understood you did what you felt you needed to do based on what the circumstances or the situation showed. However, now that I understand who you are, I know how to move around you now. Right? I'm not going to be so rigid in my commitment to you. I'm not going to be so rigid in my trust with you. I'm going to be mutable. I'm going to deal with you the way I need to deal with you, and then I'm going to move on. So I feel like a lot of you are going to be taking on that energy in reference to your connections, especially based on people that you've already dealt with, that you may have had issue with, and that you still have to deal with, like, for example, family, or people that you have children with, or people you have to work with. These are people who you can see who they are, whether they have good intention or not. But if they don't have good intention, unfortunately, sometimes you may still have to deal with them. So it's like, changing your perspective and learning how to deal with people that you really don't care to, but yet you still have to. So I feel like that's a process that you're going through. A lot of us are going through that right now, but I feel like you're specifically going through that in all your relationships. Now, when we talk about your eighth house, this is where Jupiter in retrograde and Chiron in retrograde are. Now, another major change that's going on in October is Jupiter, which is in your eighth house, is going to be moving back into your seventh house at the end of October. But we'll get into all of that. But I'm mentioning it now because you may start to feel the energies shifting. There's 3 planets that are shifting energies in October. Okay? Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter. All right, so we're going to be feeling those energies heavily. Saturn and Pluto have to do with karmic energies. So, we're wrapping up karmic cycles, and once those planets go direct in October, we're full on to a new cycle. All right, and so Jupiter in retrograde is helping us to look at the spiritual journey that we went through in reference to all this summer while the planets were in retrograde. So most of you, if you understand or you pay attention to the cycles of the planets, especially if you're on this channel, you know that all the planets go in retrograde from Aries season, and now the majority of them have gone in retrograde. We only have two or three left to go in retrograde this year. Mercury always goes in retrograde multiple times a year. That's going in retrograde on the 9th, right? But the other planets, retrograde lasts a couple of months long, okay, like throughout the whole year. So, Pluto, Saturn, they've been in retrograde since what, March, April, May, right? Throughout the whole summer. Jupiter's been in retrograde for a period of time, I believe since July. But it will be in retrograde until, I believe, December sometime. But it's in your house of Aries right now. So that's your 8th house. So your 8th house is your psychology, why you do the things you do, right? And how it manifests in the way it manifests is how it comes out in your 2nd house. So it's interesting here. Jupiter is all about the spiritual journey you've been on. What did you learn from this journey? Did you learn anything? What experiences have you had, and what did those experiences teach you? Because Jupiter is about wisdom. How do you gain wisdom? You gain wisdom from experiencing things and understanding, more importantly, after experiencing, but understanding, the outcome, understanding the lesson involved, so that you move forward with that wisdom, and now you'll never make that mistake, or you'll never, when you see red flags that point to that, you'll never, be fooled by it again. So, we're all in the process right now with all these planets, like I said, just reassessing the power struggles, because that's what the 8th house deals with, all right? And it also deals with your energy tied up with someone else's. It also deals with money as well. So we could be looking at your spending habits, things that you spent money on in the past. The 8th house deals with sex and money, power and money, right? So the dynamics between anybody or anything that you're dealing with when it comes to acquiring money through power, or acquiring money through sex, or acquiring sex through power, whatever. Any of those 3 that you want to use, and however you want to use them. So you're definitely looking back at these things, and with Chiron there, as far as the collective is concerned, with Chiron in the 8th house for you Virgo people, Chiron is looking at your wounds and looking at what you've learned and how you can use that to benefit you and others, right? Especially if you know the story of Chiron, the wounded healer. Now we move on to your 9th house, and this is where the North Node is. This is where Uranus is in retrograde. And I will be doing a reading for you guys later on, probably in another week or two, for Uranus retrograde in the North Node of Taurus. So we'll get into that, but just a little talk about it. It's in your ninth house for you, Virgo. So your ninth house is all about your higher self, your higher mind, wisdom, your spiritual beliefs, your religious beliefs, your philosophical beliefs. It could also deal with foreign travel, but also your spiritual journey, the journey that you go on to gain the wisdom that you acquire. And so the North Node is there. So this is where your peace is, right? Because that's where Taurus is. Taurus is the energy of wanting to do things peacefully, very mellowed out, no stress, just, wanting to be cool. It also rules the body, the physical body. So for some of you, there could have been something that you may have experienced where it came out of the blue. Maybe there was a sickness or an illness, or some type of situation health-wise that you had to experience. And so maybe you're dealing with the after effects of that now. Maybe you're recovering or you're healing from that, okay? But Uranus is an energy of surprise. It could be a good surprise or a bad surprise. It just depends. So I feel like this is basically some experience that you may have had. And with Uranus in retrograde, now that the surprise has occurred, now we're looking at the aftermath of it. Okay, what do I do now that this has happened out of the blue? Something that caught you out of the blue, caught you off guard. But we'll get into that specifically as we get more into the energy. I didn't do the reading yet for the Uranus retrograde because it went on the 24th of August. But I wanted to get into the energy a little bit, maybe a week or two into it, just to see how it feels. And then I'll pull cards on it. All right, so make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for that. Let's go to your 10th house, Virgo. This is where you got Mars. Now, Mars is going in retrograde on in this house on October 30th. So a lot of energy switching up in October, but we're starting to feel the changes, like the slow changes of it in September. So Mars is in your 10th house. This is the house of your career achievements, your professional endeavors. This is the house of your moral standing, your moral fiber, your moral being, why you do, what you won't do, what you're willing to do, your internal laws, right? So, and you show this in a very Gemini way, where you have lots of ideas and views about this, you have lots of experiences, or you need to gain some experiences to come to this conclusion. Well, when Mars is there, it's going to fasten things up for you. It's going to make things go a lot faster. It'll make things be a little bit, I won't say more intense, but intense in a sense where there's urgency. Because Mars is all about let's go, let's get it, let's do it. So in terms of your career, you may be feeling like, okay, well, what do I want to do? I need to make a decision. You may have a couple of options that you're weighing the pros and cons to, as far as ideas that you may want to follow up with, okay? So I feel like for you, what may happen to you may decide on something, and then when Mercury retrograde comes on around the 30th of October, you'll be reminiscing about that, trying to figure out, okay, was this the right choice? If it's not, what can I do to change it? So some of you are definitely considering career options, but also you could be looking at how you see yourself and how others see you as well. And you may be reassessing some of the things that you've experienced and changing your philosophy and your views on those things, but also specifically for your career and how you make money. Now, there's not much going on in your 11th house where Cancer is, or in your 12th house where Leo is. Leo just left, or Venus just left Leo, and it's in the process. So by the time you get this video, it may not even be in Venus yet. In Virgo yet, but it will be on the 5th, right? So your 12th house was Leo. You have Venus there. So your dreams, you may have been a little bit more in depth and detailed. Could have been very sexual in nature, okay? So you may want to write, hopefully you wrote them down or whatever you remember. What I come to find is that there's certain dreams that I come to remember versus some that I don't. I feel like what you naturally remember is what's important, because there are certain dreams that you could have had a month or two ago and you still remember some of the details of it, where there's some dreams you had and you don't remember much. It's still important to write it down, But I do feel like the things that are really important will stay with you. Um, Once you start paying attention and are cognizant of your dreams, right? But you got to get into the habit of doing that to train your brain to do so. So that's just basically the general rundown of what I got for you, Virgo, for the month of September. You're definitely going to be looking at your self esteem, your self value, your self worth, in reference to the relationships that you were in, because your seventh house and your second house are both lit up. Okay, your second house is Libra. It's got Mercury there, which is going in retrograde on the ninth. And then your seventh house, which is the house Libra usually rules, the house of relationships, you got Neptune in retrograde there. So you're definitely looking at your relationships, looking at some of the things you've been through in these relationships. Virgo, you have to be careful not to be a slave to your relationships, your connections, especially the ones that are not benefiting you. And some of you are looking back at the times and the situations and the circumstances where maybe you were. And so now you're going to decide to pull back if you haven't already. It's like, yo, I've given too much. I've been in servitude a little bit too much in this situation. I'm not doing it anymore. So you're looking at all of everything going on in your life. You're looking at the relationship between the dynamics between you and your colleagues. Am I doing more work than they are? Am I giving more than they are? Am I putting in more than they are? Why is that? And am I getting the results that I want? When it comes to your intimate partnerships, am I putting more in than my partnership is, than my partner is? Have I been a slave to this situation or a slave to this person, literally giving them everything that they need, and I'm not getting my needs met? If so, why am I doing this? When it comes to family dynamics, the same thing. Am I going over and above and beyond, trying to please and appeal to my family members, but yet they're doing me dirty or doing me wrong? So it's all about you balancing those scales this month for you, is what I feel. And I feel like for most of you, you've already done that. But for a lot of you, you're getting to the heightened energy of that because these planets are starting to switch and they're about to go direct. And so if there's something you need to cut out, it's important that you start focusing on that now. Focus on what it is you need to cut out, what no longer serves you, because you don't want to get trapped with these same circumstances and these same people once Pluto, Saturn go direct next month, because we're starting a new karmic cycle, meaning that you're going to have to deal with these people again moving forward in a whole new karmic cycle. The same shit, wasting your time with the same people when you have a brand new karmic opportunity, brand new karmic slate that you can start over new and learn from the past. Okay, so it's very important for you, Virgo. All right, that's what I got for you for your read for this month. If you need a personal, reach out. My information's in the box below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my other channel, which is called Mini Styles of Tarot. The link for that's going to be in the box below. All right, and happy birthday again to you, Virgo. I wish you guys the best. Take care.